Hello everyone. Today I will continue sharing with you the love story of the poor girl Sam and the police officer Lee. I hope you enjoy the video. That morning, while Sam was still sitting in a daze beside her cup of cold tea, her mind drifting back to thoughts about her father, the doorbell suddenly rang. She startled, stood up and opened the door, only to see Officer Lee standing there with his familiar gentle expression. In his hand was a small bag of buttermilk pastries, her favorite kind. "I passed by the bakery and saw the ones you like, so I bought some," Lee said casually, though his voice carried quiet concern. Sam froze for a beat, then a faint smile softened her tired face. "Thank you. I thought you'd be very busy today." "No matter how busy I am, I can still stop by to see you for a moment," Lee replied, his eyes filled with sincerity. He stepped inside, placed the bag on the table and sat across from her. With just a glance, he noticed the fragile sadness hiding behind her eyes. "Sam, you've been thinking about your father again, haven't you?" he asked gently without pressing. Sam lowered her head, fidgeting with the hem of her sleeve. "Yes. I don't know how to face him. Part of me still blames him, but another part feels sorry for him." Lee rested his hand lightly on the back of her chair, his voice deep and warm. "You don't have to carry all of those feelings alone. Take your time. You have the right to be sad, to be angry, to think as much as you need. But don't ever think you're alone." Those words loosened something inside her heart, as if someone had quietly lifted the weight that had been pressing on her since morning. She nodded softly. "Thank you truly." They were still talking when Lee's phone suddenly vibrated violently. He looked at the screen and his expression turned serious instantly. "What happened?" Sam asked. Lee jumped to his feet, his tone shifting completely. "There's an urgent mission. A group of smugglers was spotted in the northern forest. I have to go now." He looked at Sam, regret heavy in his eyes. He didn't want to leave her when she was feeling so vulnerable. But duty was duty. "Sam, stay home and rest. Once I'm done, I'll come back. Please be careful," she said, clutching the pastry bag he brought, worry and affection mixing in her voice. Lee nodded, glanced back one last time as if to reassure her, then hurried out with firm steps. The door closed, leaving Sam standing alone in the small house, an inexplicable wave of fear rising in her chest. Ever since she grew closer to Officer Lee, Sam finally understood what it meant to wait for someone who faced danger every day. Each time she saw him put on his uniform, check his radio and stride toward the door, her heart tightened. She knew his job mattered. She knew he was brave and responsible. But she also knew that every mission carried risks no one could predict. That morning was no different. The moment Lee walked out, his footsteps fading down the alley, Sam stood still by the door, her hands clasped tightly together. That familiar uneasiness rose again, vague yet so clear it made her chest ache. She lowered her head, closed her eyes, and as always she silently prayed. Please keep him safe. Let him return unharmed. Let all danger pass him by. She wasn't a religious person, but every time he went on duty, she prayed from the deepest part of her heart. Just imagining him somewhere in the forest, in dark alleys, facing unpredictable criminals, was enough to unsettle her completely. She sat down, gently opened the pastry bag. The aroma drifted out, warm and familiar, but she had no appetite today. She just looked at the little pastry in her hand, and the image of Lee leaving surfaced again. His steady eyes, his strong posture, and the lingering reluctance to leave her alone. "Officer Lee, I hope you're really okay." The whole morning she couldn't focus on anything. Every time her phone buzzed, her heart lurched, thinking it might be a message from him. She was worried, she cared, and she hated how powerless she felt, unable to do anything but wait. She knew very well. She cared for him far more than she dared to admit. Police Officer Lee drove the special duty vehicle toward the northern forest, where his colleagues had already blocked one of the exit routes. The moment he stepped out of the car, the radio crackled urgently. "Beta team has spotted 3 smugglers to the northeast. One of them ran into the forest and is armed, requesting backup." Lee immediately sprinted into the forest, his boots crunching over layers of dry leaves. The air was damp and cold, morning mist still clinging to the branches, narrowing his visibility, but he moved quickly, every sense sharpened. In the distance, a dark figure flickered between the bushes. "Stop!" Police! Lee shouted. The smuggler jerked in surprise, then bolted deeper into the forest. Lee dashed after him, dodging thick tree trunks, his hand ready at the holster by his waist. The terrain was uneven, but Lee maintained his pace. Just a few more meters and he would be able to subdue the suspect when, bang! A gunshot exploded from the side of the forest, not from the man he was chasing. Lee turned instinctively but too late. The bullet tore across his shoulder, ripping through the protective vest, leaving a streak of blood that spread rapidly. His body staggered, breath catching at the sudden jolt of pain. A second one lying in ambush. Lee gritted his teeth, instantly assessing the situation. He dropped to one knee, pressing his hand against the burning wound. Blood seeped through his fingers, dripping onto the damp soil. The radio crackled sharply. Lee, do you copy? Your tracker says you stopped moving. What's going on? He inhaled deeply, voice shaky yet steady. Ambush. I'm hit but I'm fine. Send backup. Northeast sector. One suspect fleeing, one armed. But before he could finish, footsteps thundered from behind. Lee spun around, drew his gun, trying to aim despite the dizziness clouding his vision. The second smuggler reloaded his weapon, eyes wild and intent on firing again. Lee dodged right, but a stabbing pain shot through his upper arm, throwing him off balance. Even so, his instincts as a seasoned officer kicked in. He fired a warning shot, forcing the man to recoil. Blood continued to stream down, and his breaths grew ragged, but he could not fall. Not now, not while even one criminal remained at large. Despite his injury, Lee stayed alarmingly focused. Blood dripped from his shoulder in long streaks, staining his uniform and the forest floor, but his eyes were sharp as steel, tracking every move of the gunman in the distance. His breath quickened. The cold morning air stung his wound, but slowing down wasn't an option. One moment of hesitation could cost him his life. The smuggler raised his gun again. The metallic glint under the canopy warned of another shot about to fire. Bang! This time Lee reacted fast enough. He dove left, rolling across the bed of dry leaves as the bullet sliced through the air above him. The abrupt movement sent a piercing shock of pain through his wounded shoulder, making his whole body tremble. He braced a hand against the ground, trying to stand, but the ground beneath him wasn't stable forest soil. One misstep was all it took. The eroded mud gave way. Lee's stomach dropped. Below him was a steep ravine, hidden by thick layers of foliage. Damn, was all he could mutter. The smuggler realized Lee was about to fall and fired another shot. The bullet grazed Lee's cheek, hot and razor-sharp like a blade. Lee leaned hard to dodge it, but that movement destroyed what little balance he had left. The earth crumbled, and his body plunged downward. Branches tore past him, leaves ripped loudly as he fell, stones clattered and bounced with every violent impact against jagged rocks. Lee! Lee! Respond! The radio screeched. But Lee no longer had the strength to answer. A thick branch slammed into his back, spinning him uncontrollably before he crashed onto a lower ledge. He landed on his injured shoulder, a shock of pain so overwhelming that a ringing sound filled his ears. His vision blurred. He reached weakly for the radio, wanting to report his location, but his fingers trembled violently, numb and unresponsive. Warm blood trickled down his temple. The last thing he heard was the rustling of the forest canopy above him. Then everything went dark. Officer Lee lay unconscious at the bottom of the narrow ravine, bleeding into the cold earth, while the smuggler still lurked somewhere above. Bad news arrived just as Sam sat anxiously in the living room, staring at her phone without even knowing what she was waiting for. Suddenly, the screen lit up. It was a call from one of Officer Lee's teammates. The voice on the other end was urgent and tense. Miss Sam. Officer Lee's signal just disappeared. We only received a distress ping indicating he was injured before communication was completely lost. Sam's hands trembled so hard the phone nearly slipped from her fingers. Signal lost? In the deep forest? He's injured? Every cell in her body froze, but after a few seconds of shock, she tightened her grip on the phone and drew in a long, steady breath. It wasn't fear. It was determination burning fiercely in her eyes. Which area is he in? Sam asked, her voice shaking slightly but firm. We're planning to head in, but the terrain is too complicated. There's a high chance he fell into a ravine. Miss Sam, it's best if you stay home. Send me the coordinates. She cut him off. It's dangerous. I know that forest better than anyone on your team. I followed my father in there dozens of times. I know trails that don't show up on any map. If he fell into a ravine, I can find him faster than you. Send it. Now. There was not a shred of hesitation in her voice. The line fell silent for a few seconds. Then the location ping arrived. The moment she saw it, Sam grabbed her jacket, shoved her phone into her pocket, snatched a flashlight and a small kit of first aid supplies. Without another thought, she bolted out the door. The icy morning wind slapped against her face, but her heart burned like fire. She wasn't afraid. She wasn't curious. She wasn't acting out of duty. She was running toward someone. Someone her heart had long considered important. A police vehicle was parked at the forest entrance. When the officers saw Sam approaching, they froze. Miss Sam. No, you can't enter, it's dangerous. Don't stop me, Sam said, eyes red but gaze unwavering. She pointed toward the dense tree line. Northeast side has a deep ravine with soft ground below. If he fell, that's where he is. You'll take hours following the map, but I know a faster route. A few officers exchanged uncertain glances. Finally, the team leader nodded. All right, but you stay with us. No splitting up. Sam nodded firmly. Without another second wasted, she led the rescue team into the forest, moving so fast and so confidently that the men behind her could only stare in astonishment. Every leaf, every twisted path. Sam recognized them all, but her heart was pulled toward the man lying somewhere in that cold, unforgiving forest. Lee, please don't leave me. Her silent prayer grew stronger with every step. Sam led the group along a narrow trail only seasoned forest-goers would know. The wind howled between the trees, bringing a biting chill, but Sam felt nothing. Her mind was focused on only one thing. Find Lee. Find him as soon as possible. While running and scanning the ground, Sam suddenly stopped short, her breath catching. A long streak of blood stained the soil, trailing toward the cliff's edge. Here, she shouted. The team rushed over. One officer crouched down, examining it. It's human blood and fresh. Sam's chest tightened. Without a moment's hesitation, she followed the trail to the cliff edge. The ground had collapsed into a wide gap. Undeniable proof that someone had slipped and fallen. Sam dropped to her knees, peering into the dim abyss below. Cold wind rose from the ravine, carrying the smell of damp soil and the metallic scent of blood. She called out, her voice trembling. Lee, can you hear me? Her voice echoed through the ravine, but only the eerie silence of the forest replied. A rescue officer switched on a high-powered spotlight and aimed it downward. The beam swept across rocks, broken branches, and then stopped. Sam stopped breathing. At the bottom of the ravine, amid dirt and fallen leaves, a man lay motionless. The light revealed a police uniform soaked in blood and mud. It was Lee. There. That's him. Sam screamed, her voice cracking. She shot to her feet, ready to jump down, but two officers grabbed her. Miss Sam, it's too dangerous. Let us. No. Let me go. He's bleeding. He's down there alone. I have to go. She cried, panic and desperation crashing together in her voice. The team leader signaled for rescue ropes to be set up. While the equipment was prepared, Sam stood at the cliff's edge, hands trembling but eyes locked onto Lee's distant figure. She called again, voice small but aching. Please don't scare me like this, please. The moment the rope was secured, Sam didn't wait for instructions. She grabbed the line and said, Let me go first. I'm the lightest, the quickest, and I know this terrain. He needs someone to reach him fast. No one dared argue with the resolve in her eyes. Sam lowered herself down, gripping the rope as she descended the jagged rock wall. Sharp edges scraped her skin raw, but she didn't care. With each meter she dropped, her heartbeat grew louder, her fear sharper. When her feet finally touched the ground, she sprinted straight to Lee. And when she saw him up close, her entire world threatened to collapse. Lee lay on his side, his face pale, a long gash on his temple still oozing blood. His left shoulder was drenched in red, a trail of blood running down his arm. His breathing was so faint Sam had to lean in to notice it. Lee, oh God, she whispered, eyes brimming. She knelt beside him, her trembling hands gently lifting his head onto her lap. "Can you hear me?" "It's me. I'm here." No response. Only the faintest breath, barely there. Tears fell onto his cheek, mixing with the dirt and blood. Sam bent down, resting her forehead against his, voice breaking. "Please, please don't leave me." Above them, the rescue team prepared to descend. But in that moment it was only Sam and Lee, one unconscious, one clinging to him with all her heart, terrified that if she let go, he would slip away forever. Sam's hands trembled as she cupped Officer Lee's cheeks, trying desperately to keep him conscious, even if only in some faint instinct. But his face remained motionless, and his breathing was so weak that each time Sam had to lean in close just to make sure he was still alive. She forced down a sob, inhaling deeply to steady herself. "I can't cry. I have to help him first," she told herself. Her small hands fumbled for the first aid kit she had brought. She quickly tore open a packet of gauze, pressing it firmly against the wound on Lee's shoulder, then wrapped it tightly to stop the bleeding. "Please bear with me. I'll be gentle," she whispered as if comforting him, even though she knew he couldn't hear her. Blood still seeped through far too much, making her hands shake uncontrollably. But she didn't stop. Above them, voices echoed down the ravine. "Miss Sam, we're coming down." Rescue ropes were lowered. 2 responders climbed down the cliff, reaching Sam and Lee's position. They were stunned to see how quickly and correctly she had administered first aid, slowing down the blood loss significantly. "You did really well, Miss Sam," one of them said, checking Lee's condition. She only nodded slightly, her voice breaking. "He's still breathing, but it's very weak. Please get him up there now." They placed Lee on the stretcher, secured his head and shoulder, and prepared to lift him. When one rescuer motioned for Sam to go up first, she immediately shook her head. "No. Take him up first. I'll go after." No one dared argue. The look in her eyes, firm yet shattered, was stronger than any reasoning. Every second felt like an eternity as they hoisted Lee upward. Sam stood at the bottom of the ravine, watching the stretcher rise inch by inch. Each time it swayed, her heart clenched. "Please don't let anything happen. Please don't leave me," she prayed silently, fingers tightly interlocked. Only when Lee was safely at the top did Sam exhale, her legs nearly giving out beneath her. Still, she grabbed the rope and climbed up herself, refusing to let anyone worry about her. The moment she reached the surface, she rushed to Lee's side. Medical staff were already checking his pulse, his blood pressure, his wounds. One of them frowned. "He's lost quite a lot of blood. We need to take him to the hospital immediately." As they prepared the stretcher for transport, Sam grasped Lee's hand. It was so cold it terrified her. She whispered, voice trembling, "I'm going with him. I'm not leaving him." No one objected. Everyone could see the connection between them just from the way Sam looked at him. The ambulance doors opened. They loaded the stretcher inside, and Sam climbed in right after, sitting as close as possible. She took his hand and pressed it to her cheek, trying to warm it. As the ambulance sped forward, sirens echoing through the forest, Sam bowed her head, her forehead resting on his hand. "Lee, please open your eyes. I'm so scared." Tears slid down her face, falling onto his skin. Outside, the ambulance cut through the wind. Inside, in the cramped emergency cabin, there was only one girl desperately holding onto the hand of the man she could not bear to lose. The ambulance screeched to a halt at the hospital entrance, bright white lights flooding the cramped compartment. As soon as the door opened, the emergency team rushed Lee into the trauma room. Sam followed, her hurried steps filled with fear. When the doors closed, she could only wait outside. Her hands clenched so tightly her knuckles turned white. Every minute dragged on like an hour. The sound of doctors' footsteps, medical equipment, and voices calling out orders filled the hallway, weighing heavily on her chest. Finally, after more than an excruciating hour, the door opened. A doctor stepped out. "His condition has stabilized. The bullet only grazed his shoulder, didn't hit the bone. But he lost a significant amount of blood and has a mild head injury from the fall. We've treated everything. He just needs to be monitored overnight." Sam exhaled so hard her knees nearly buckled. Can I see him?" she asked, her voice barely audible. "You can. But don't wake him. He needs rest." The recovery room was quiet, almost serene. Warm yellow light softened Lee's features, making him look gentler than his usual stern demeanor. His shoulder was wrapped securely in bandages, some traces of dried blood still visible. The heart monitor beeped steadily beside him, a comforting reminder that he was still here. Sam approached the bed, her hands trembling. Sitting down, she gently reached for his hand, large, calloused but cold. "You scared me to death," she whispered, lips trembling as she tried to keep herself from sobbing. All the fear she had held inside from the forest to the hospital surged through her chest. But she didn't let herself cry aloud, afraid she might disturb him. Instead, she bowed her head, letting silent tears fall onto his hand. She wiped the remaining blood from his neck with a warm cloth, adjusted the blanket across his body, then pulled her chair close. Even though the doctor warned not to wake him, Sam didn't take her eyes off him for a second. Whenever Lee winced from pain in his sleep, Sam would immediately stand, stroke his hair, and whisper softly, "I'm here. It's okay now, just rest." She stayed like that for hours. Whenever the clock ticked into a new hour, she jolted awake, checking his vitals on the monitor. Once reassured, she would sit back down and hold his hand again. By midnight, exhaustion began to overwhelm her. She rested her head on the edge of the bed, her eyes heavy but stubbornly open. "I won't sleep. I have to watch over you," she murmured. But eventually, after the long, grueling day, Sam drifted off, still holding his hand tightly. She didn't know that. In the quiet darkness, Lee slowly opened his eyes. The dim light illuminated her sleeping face, her lashes still damp with dried tears. He looked at her for a long moment, his breathing calmer, his eyes softening. A faint, fragile smile touched his lips, and in a barely audible whisper, he breathed, "Thank you, Sam." Then he slipped back into sleep, this time a peaceful one.
Hello mọi người, lại là mình đây. Rất vui được gặp lại mọi người trong kênh của mình nha. Hy vọng rằng câu chuyện hôm nay mình mang lại cho mọi người sẽ giúp cuộc sống mọi người trở nên vui vẻ hơn. Và đặc biệt là những câu chuyện mình chia sẻ mong mọi người sẽ yêu thích và ủng hộ kênh của mình để mình có động lực ra nhiều video hơn cho mọi người cùng xem. Nếu mọi người yêu thích những video của mình thì nhớ chia sẻ kênh của mình đến bạn bè để mọi người cùng biết đến và lắng nghe những câu chuyện mà mình chia sẻ, cũng như tạo động lực để cho mình làm nhiều video hơn và chia sẻ nhiều câu chuyện hơn đến cho mọi người. Cảm ơn mọi người đã lắng nghe một phút chia sẻ cuối video của mình. Hy vọng rằng sẽ được đồng hành cùng mọi người trong thời gian sắp tới. Hẹn gặp lại mọi người ở video lần sau nha.